How's it going, everyone? I'm Chase Lee reporting for DallasMovieScreens.com, and I got another movie to review for you guys, and that would be Gold, starring Matthew. All right. Time is like a flat circle. McConaughey. That was a terrible impression. Don't worry, I won't be doing that anymore. It also stars Bryce Dallas Howard, Edgar Ramirez, and it's about a prospector in the 80s who strikes gold in Indonesia and basically becomes a rich person amongst the gold community. I didn't know there was a gold community out there. But yeah, so I was looking forward to this kind of because I am a fan of the McConaughey. I love all of his recent films that he's done, ever since Lincoln Lawyer, and kind of had that McConaissance, if you will. But I've always liked him in his older stuff too, like A Time to Kill. And I even like some of his rom-coms as guilty pleasures. But he's always struck me as this very versatile actor. Just does these different kind of unique projects. And Gold was definitely one of them. And, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's also not the worst thing in the world. So let's get real and break this down. So let's start with the writing and directing. Let's start with the actual story itself, because the actual story is based on a true story. And we have this guy who's down on his luck. He's pushing forward. He's got a woman in his life played by Bryce Dallas Howard. And he's just kind of hustling and trying to make it through life. And then, he finds the gold, and then he, rises to fame, and then he, eventually falls. It's the typical rise and fall scenario of a morally questionable gray person. So the story itself is not really different from anything that we've kind of seen in this type of storytelling before. And to be quite frank with you, story isn't really that interesting. There's not enough punch to it to really kind of keep you interested. I mean, it's slightly interesting at best, but I just never found it compelling and really kind of get you on the edge of your seat going, whoa, what's going to happen next with this guy type of deal. The characters themselves, Matthew McConaughey, I mean, he does a good job portraying this, like I said, morally questionable character, and he was definitely the driving force behind the movie. Other than that, his characters aren't really known that much. We know some characteristics and stuff, but we don't really know much about him. Same goes with Edgar Ramirez and Bryce Dallas Howard. We know little bits of their characteristics, but we don't really know much about their character themselves, and that's kind of annoying because Edgar Ramirez, there's really not much to him. He just kind of floats in the movie, kind of floats out, and you're like, okay, I guess. And Bryce Dallas Howard, there's really nothing much to her. I mean, she is a strong female character, and I really kind of like that because she was very sexy, but she was also very smart about what she was doing. She knew what she was getting herself into, and she, backed her man up the entire time while still standing up for herself when she felt like something was going wrong. And that's the one thing I appreciate about her and McConaughey is that they had a great chemistry. I actually liked their relationship throughout the entire movie. I thought that was really well done. The sweet moments were there. The chemistry and the pop that you would feel from any romance couple just came off the screen. I actually really quite like that aspect. But once again, through all three of them, we don't really know much about them. We just know that this movie is about their objective and getting this gold, and that's about it. I mean, I get it's based on a true story, but I wish there was a little bit more pizzazz, a little more pop, a little more punch to the actual directing style going into that. Because when you think of a Social Network or The Wolf of Wall Street, whether you have Martin Scorsese's epic tracking shots, or you have Fincher's ominous atmosphere and tone and music, is just it brings it to a whole nother level. This film never once took it from just being this average movie to being something to definitely remember. I haven't thought about this movie since I saw it, a few days ago. I'm just like, did that happen? I don't really remember that well. But the directing is it's very average at best. Nothing really, like I said, anything new to this type of story or whatnot. And another problem I have with the characters is that some of them are introduced and they have little to do, and they're just kind of in the background, and they'll kind of pop up every now and then. You're like, I don't know, are they supposed to be kind of important? I know it's not focusing on them, but give them a little bit more to do, I guess. Yeah, and then the fact that Matthew McConaughey is kind of questionable as a character himself, it's kind of hard to actually follow him. You're just kind of following the interest of the story for the most part. Acting wise, once again, everyone's good. I would even say that like Bryce Dallas Howard and Matthew McConaughey, they're fine. They're good. I like them. Edgar Ramirez, honestly, there's really not that much for him to do to where I will want to credit him in this section. I mean, he's fine in the role, but it's not like, he's a great supporting character to the story. I don't know. And then everyone else is just, it's kind of random because Corey Stoll pops in there at some point. I'm just like, okay, sure. He's just kind of there and then he's just gone. And it's just, there's this woman, and that's the other thing. Well, this woman, she just kind of, comes into Matthew McConaughey's life. She's there for 2 scenes and then she's gone. That's I forgot one of the things I mentioned about the characteristics and the personalities. Matthew McConaughey in the movie, like his character seemed like a hustler who was kind of like walking that gray line, but also very loving and caring to his girlfriend or wife. I forgot which one. To Bryce Dallas Howard. He does something in the middle of the movie where I'm like, that doesn't make sense for your character because you literally just 10 minutes ago were just singing a different tune about the situation. Once again, I don't spoil, so it's kind of hard to talk about it, but there's just something that happens in the middle of the movie where I was like, no, why would you do that? It seemed like it was just happening too fast, and like the director just had to get to the next cliche of these types of movies. So there was not enough room to breathe for anything. It was just like, we gotta hit this point, we gotta hit this point, we gotta hit this point, we gotta hit this point. Cinematography wise, it's very flat, to be honest with you. I mean, the kind of like textural grain that you have on the actual film itself is kind of cool because it's set in the 80s, so you kind of add that atmosphere to it, but overall it's a very flat film. Editing wise, the movie's 2 hours. I was slightly interested because I just wanted to see like how it would end, but I can see this movie boring people. It's just really not that compelling of enough story with really like awesome direction to really kind of hold your interest through the entire time. I mean, you'll be kind of like dozing off a little bit and just kind of like, okay. Kind of almost wanting to check the time, but I didn't check the time. And the music is really good too. I like the music accompaniment to the movie. It was nominated for Best Song at the Golden Globe. I didn't remember which song it was in the movie, but I do like the music as a collective whole. It was very good. So overall, guys, it's a very standard movie about someone rising and falling and, greed and corruption and doing morally questionable things. It's a very standard story. It's the director hit the beats and just nothing was added new to this movie. No risk were taken. I do like the chemistry between Matthew McConaughey and Bryce Dallas Howard. All the performances were good. Edgar Ramirez, I don't know why he was in there. It's just cinematography is a little stale. Music is a fine accompaniment, and the editing is, it can be slow at sometimes, but it chugs along. It's not a terrible movie at all, but it's not like a good movie at all either. I'm kind of like there in the middle. So I'm going to give Gold a C+. And I'm going to give the plus because I do like McConaughey's commitment to the role. He gave 110%. So I'm going to give the slight edge up to his performance. So C+ for me. So have you seen Gold, or have you even heard of it? And no, this is not the sequel to Fool's Gold, which also starred, all right, Matthew McConaughey. So I know that's what you're thinking the entire time, so I figured I'd just bring that up now. So so have you seen Gold? Have you even heard of it? Comment plus from my face and let me know. And as always, guys, I'm Chase Lee, and tune in next time for whatever I review next for DallasMoviescreens.com. See you guys later.